Hello and welcome to Sidequest. This is our weekly video game show here at Geekverse. I'm your one and only host, Dylan Muss, and a little solo episode which I don't think I've done in a couple months. I try and do these every once in a while. I think it mixes things up. Sometimes I have too much on my mind and I need to get it out of my mind into you and your podcast listening app, and that's what's happening today. Every year, Game Awards is coming up in just a few short days. We're going to have a second episode this week, breaking it all down. I'm going to try as well to do a live stream reaction of the Game Awards. We'll see how I'm feeling on that given day. If I can start at that very time. I forget exactly when that live stream starts, but just check that out if you want to tune into that. But yeah, every year, or the last couple of years at least, I've done a little solo episode, a short little one, where I just go through and go through the Game Awards. Obviously, I'm not on the jury by any means, but I'm part of that 10%, which is the whole entire world that can go on the website, create an account, and vote on the different categories. So I want to do that. But I also had so much else to talk about, and since, Game Awards is coming up, and then this and that, and Game of the Year is coming up pretty soon, and all these fun things, I just don't know when I'd be able to talk about some of these games, and I wanted to do it while the iron was hot, so to speak. So this episode, which was originally one topic of me doing my Game Awards votes, it's now that, plus my impressions on the new Hitman Eminem DLC, also the Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls beta that I've been playing this weekend, as well as Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So you're getting Hitman, 2 Marvel topics, and Game Awards. A lot of fun stuff. And yeah, just me to break it all down for you. So I think I'm going to start with the Eminem Hitman DLC. So for anyone who's not aware, this Hitman World of Assassination, one of my very favorite games, which I've talked about many times on Sidequest here. And for the last, years, I guess at this point, they've been doing celebrity ETs, elusive targets. So what that means is there's some celebrity storyline set up, whether the celebrity is playing themselves, like Bruce Lee, which happened, just a couple months ago, or it's sometimes a celebrity coming in as like a fictional character within the world. And with the elusive targets, essentially you have like a limited amount of time to take them out. That's generally for like the main mode of the setting, but then there's also like the arcade version where you can just kind of play it over and over again, even if there's like a 30-minute timer cooldown if you fail or something like that. So not quite the regular Hitman experience. I think I don't love the way they're framed within the game. I don't like that limitation of the timing of it, and I don't like that a lot of these things go away. Like the Bruce Lee one has like disappeared from the game now, and it's like probably because of rights and stuff. It just like is not going to exist ever again, maybe. Like who really knows? So I don't like that. I don't like the idea that these wonderful developers that I want to, play all the content they're making, and they're spending all this time to make content that then, I can play for, a few days and then it goes into a vault and maybe to never be seen again. So I kind of wish they didn't do a celebrity ones and they just had DLC things. But what comes with this is that typically they'll take a map that exists in the game, or they'll always do this. They'll take a map that already exists in the game. They'll dress it up in some new way, change it up, change the theming, limit areas, not really add areas, but kind of just change all the decoration, different rooms, all the NPC locations. And so for someone like me who's so invested in like, oh, I know exactly where this one NPC walks in this hotel second floor, all the things are kind of switched up. And so it makes you have to think on your feet a little bit. Some of them have other weird attributes to them. And this new Eminem one, I'm not really an Eminem guy, and I've heard him a lot growing up because he was so big when I was in like middle school or whatever. Not a huge fan of his music. I just don't really listen to it personally. Maybe I would be a fan if I went and checked it out. But I think it was a fun concept they went with here where Eminem is on your side, and maybe this is a little bit light spoilers, but actually this whole mission kind of takes place in Eminem's head, and you're like helping him. It's like a dream essentially, and you're helping him to kill his evil alter ego of Slim Shady. So your target in this is just Slim Shady. This mission takes one of my favorite maps, which is Hokkaido, the Japan kind of hospital map, snowy hospital area, and turns it into a bit of like a concert area and repurposes all of the kind of doctor facilities, doctor's offices, and like guard buildings and like operation rooms, and turns that into like a music studio where he's playing like a live concert. But since it's like this weird demented version of Slim Shady's mind and Eminem's mind, like they're all still doctors and stuff. Like they kind of change their outfits around, but they're still doctors helping him create like the perfect music or whatever it is. It's like very goofy, very silly. And this one is really, really silly. And I like that for it because Hitman is inherently quite silly. I don't think you realize how silly it is if you just see a trailer or hear people talk about it. But once you're actually playing it, you kind of just see how goofy it is. People slipping on banana peels and having chandeliers fall on them and all this. And, I love Hokkaido, one of my favorite maps in the game, and they've done a ton to switch it up in here. Just totally, like, the one main area of the map isn't changed a whole lot, but even then they changed, like, the dining hall from, like, a fancy sushi restaurant to, like, this kind of cheapo, like, I don't know, essentially like a mental hospital, like cafeteria room. So they changed the whole vibe there. Some parts of the map don't really get used at all. Like the top floor of the facility, they just kind of blocked off completely. But that main area, they change all the inside of it, how you interact with it, the costumes you need to get on the different floors, and little details too. Like there's just this one thing that's typically a window, so you can look through it, but you can never go through it. They just turned that into like a door here, so it just is like this whole other entry point of the map, which for me, as a nerd and super huge fan of this map and this game, it's like that changes everything. If there's one new way to walk into a building that normally takes 3 to 4 minutes to traverse around it in the opposite way. So love little details like that. And then where it gets like super freaky is they've taken a lot of the mirrors in the map, and sometimes there was a mirror and now they've added one, but even where there was a mirror already, they've turned those into like portals where you can like shortcut across the map and teleport through. And that's obviously because this is not in the real world, it's in someone's dream mind, so weird trippy things can happen like that. But I really like that too, and it totally changes how you navigate this map. And this map in general is one that is pretty hard to navigate around because there's locked doors that require certain costumes and things. But with this version of it, they've like just totally changed it up. So really fun to navigate around the map. Good classic like kill opportunities in here. I'm sure there's even some more freaky ones. I didn't find it, like a couple run throughs of this. And I think one of my favorite parts about it is that at one point, like with the trippy teleporting sequences, you teleport to like a portion of another map. It's like the basement and house generally of Whittleton Creek, which is another one of my favorites, which to my knowledge is not something they've ever done before with any of these special missions. It's like taking another section of another map and fusing it into one for one like cohesive experience. And that's something I didn't know I wanted, and now I just want that. I just didn't even think it was possible. Like these maps are already so detailed and huge, and I didn't think they could do this. I didn't think they could just stitch two maps together. Now, of course, with the Whittleton part, it's like a really small part of it. You don't even see the outside, and there's no NPCs in it, so I'm sure it's a lot easier. But man, that's something that I would love to see, just because once again, the remix factor of it, of taking these maps that I know and love and know every last corner of them. Also, by the way, when I was watching a stream of someone playing this, they used two little shortcuts that are not new to this elusive target, but are shortcuts I had never seen on this map before. And that just blows my mind because I've played through Japan, I don't know, 50 with Freelancer, probably like 50 times or more. This map, I've played through it, and I just discovered two new pathways that I'd never seen before. So that just blew my mind as well, which this game always does. I'm always finding crazy new stuff. So I love it. It's super fun. It's hard to recommend because even if you're listening to this like a couple weeks from now, you might not be able to play this mission anymore. And I also feel like you get, obviously if you're a big Eminem fan, maybe you'll just love this mission for what it is. But if you haven't played this game, I feel like so much of the value I get out of these missions is seeing how they've changed things from the default, and I've spent hundreds of hours with that default stuff, so seeing the variations is meaningful. Whereas if you're jumping into this kind of cold or just like, oh, I like Eminem, I've heard you talk about Hitman before, Dylan, maybe I'll check out this mission, I'm sure you'll have a good time, but I just don't know if it'll be quite as meaningful as it feels for me. And obviously like, the timer lockout things could also be really annoying for a new player. So but at the same time, I feel like that's why they do these things. I feel like that is why they have these celebrity elusive targets to like pull more people into the game, get different audience and stuff. So I'm not really sure who it's for, but it seems to be working for them because they keep doing them. So yeah, it's been a good year of this. Like this one, Bruce Lee, Le Chiffre, Mads Mikkelsen in there. So some and maybe even another one this year, can't recall. But overall, like a pretty good year for a game that's kind of finished development, so to speak, like years ago, and their new game's coming out in like a couple months. So it's like the fact that they're still doing really like, this is not just a cheap little skin pack. That sounds like really weird. I don't like the words cheap little skin pack that I just used, but this is not that. It's not just like buying Eminem costume to use in Hitman. Like it is a really big change. The unfortunate part again is just the limited nature of it, but really fun, really glad they added it. really cool. And I don't know, it feels like the celebrities they pick are not Dylan picks. They're not like Dylan nostalgia picks, other than like I guess Mads Mikkelsen. But even then, it's not even for me like so much from Bond. It's more just Mads Mikkelsen and who he is. But I'm curious to see what the next one is. Hopefully, at some point they pick one that's like gonna blow my mind in terms of I can't believe they got this person that is super precious to me. But then a lot of them also have been canceled, so maybe I don't want them to pick people that I think I like right now. Like, don't pick Jack Black and then that means he gets canceled. Like, that would be the scariest thing ever. So yeah, that's I think all I have to say about the Eminem DLC. And then I think I'll jump right into Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. Of course, this is the Arc System Works fighting game. And actually, if you're watching with me on YouTube here, I'll pull up some footage just to have going on in the background. But yeah, this is the fighting game from Arc System Works. So they do like what's it called, Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball Fighter Z, that kind of stuff. This is a new fighting game, and as I've talked about a lot in the past, like I'm not a big traditional 2D fighting game guy. I signed up for this beta because I'm very curious about this game and I want to see more. And I did have a good time with it. I admittedly did not play a lot. And I think part of that is because compared to even just other fighting games like I've played recently, like mostly Mortal Kombat, I guess, just like with the GV boys on streams and stuff. This game is really complicated. There's a lot going on in terms of some of these systems and like the tagging system of you have 4 different characters. You unlock them as the fight progresses, so you don't actually have access to all 4 in like round 1. I think you only have access to 2, and then like as the rounds progress, you get like more that have kind of been recruited to your team to help you out. And the weird thing here that might surprise people and surprise me as well is that they all share one health pool. So it's like it's not like you can use all of Captain America, then you switch to Miss Marvel, blow through her health pool, and then go over to Doctor Doom or whatever. Like, it just shares one. So if you're just super comfortable with Captain America, you'll probably just stick with him, I guess. But in theory, you want to get really good with 4 because then you have a ton of mix-up potential. You have more like combo potential because your characters will do combo attacks with each other. So that's also a reason why you have multiple. But it is a lot. And so I think for that very reason, I didn't really want to spend too much time going super in depth. I did the full tutorial and then played a few matches. But I just feel like it's not really worth it right now for me to learn everything about this game when I'm not going to be able to play it again for a few months. So that's kind of where I'm at now. But I did have a good time with it. I love the art style. I think one of my big questions with this game is like, what's going on with the roster, guys? Like we've had 8 characters announced from the first trailer, and we haven't had any more since then. And that was like a few months ago, and they've had a lot of other trailers and stuff. So who knows? Maybe Game Awards in just a few short days we'll finally get that. And I think for me that actually is kind of the deciding factor at this point. Like I like this game, but I'm also terrible at it because I'm bad at fighting games like this. It's going to be a huge learning curve. So I know it's not going to be like, I'm not going to buy this game, download it, have it pre-downloaded Thursday night at 9 p.m., boot it up, and have instant fun. Like, it's going to take a while. It's going to take practice. And I do, depending on when it releases, unless it releases like the same day as GTA 6, I do want to do that. But I also think that I would need there to be a good amount more characters in the game for me to do that, because I think part of the fun for me is just seeing my favorite Marvel characters and these weird new get-ups that they have, you know, Captain America with a strange vest situation going on. Try out these different characters, see the different play styles, and really just see where it goes. And so I think for me, I need a bigger roster to sell me on this. And so I know it will have a bigger roster than 8, but especially when you have to pick a team of 4, like I want to make sure there's at least 4 characters that I am in love with in this game. And I don't know. I'm sure even with the 8 that they have now, I could probably find that. Captain America, always fun. He's just a simple character in like every game, Ultimate Alliance, Avengers. Like, he's just a simple character. And is fun. I of course like Storm, as I usually do. I think Doctor Doom was my favorite in here. I just found moving around with him, his powers, his combos seemed to work the best for me. I had the most success. And I also really liked Ghost Rider, which I'm sure Taylor will be happy to hear. He has some just amazing animations and crazy finishers, with like bringing out the car and stuff like that. But then seems like a bit of like a grappler type, and then he's got like kind of a lot of the mid range with using like chain attacks. Then he has like his grabs seem to work really well for me. I was playing against the Captain America who's just, you know, blocking all day long, but I could just come in here with my chain, grab him, chuck him around, and that worked really well. And then Miss Marvel, also a character that's just fun in any video game she's always in. Ultimate Alliance, Avengers, again, like whatever it is, she's always a good time. So yeah, I think I need to see pretty big, like probably a roster of at least over 20 characters, which I don't know if they haven't announced any others since like the initial announcement. I don't know how likely or unlikely that is. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I did have a good time with this game. Cool mechanics. I feel like I cannot break it down on a super deep level in comparing it to other 2D fighters just because it's not my genre. I'm not an expert in that space. But I think for me, it's the combination of the art style, it's the Marvel stuff. Just Arc System Works, and I have played some Guilty Gear Strive. Really like that game. It's cool. I haven't played Dragon Ball Fighter Z, but I just, people talk about how these are kind of some of the best fighting games on the market right now. Obviously, you have your Mortal Kombat ones, you have your Street Fighter 6s, but I feel like they're carving out like a different niche, and this just feels like a huge jump up for this team, and so I'm curious to see what goes on there. So yeah, hopefully I can talk about this game a bit more in a few days at the Game Awards if they have a new trailer with a new character or two. That would be fun. If not, they do continue to confirm this 2026 release date, so it should be coming out pretty soon because we're almost into that very new year. So yeah, I'll keep an eye on this one, and I think maybe at this point in time I can jump to a little bit of an ad break. Give myself a moment to catch my breath, drink some water. Before I do that, let me thank our Patreon producers. We got Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Jack Grant, Sam, Superbad Mike, TGGLM69, Charlie Rendell, Cocktail Clay, John with no H, and Sam Green. Thank you all so much for keeping the lights on here at Geek First. With a jumping on the Patreon, you get episodes early and ad-free. You also get a lot of voting power. You get to choose the content we make if you're over on the producer tier. Things early. For example, this side quest, I was feeling jived after the It chapter. I messed it up, just like Travis always says he's doing. The It Welcome to Dairy chapter, I guess we're on episode 7, not chapter 7, episode 7. I was feeling jazzed, so I recorded this Sunday night, and so this episode drops on Tuesday. You get it a little day early if you're over on Patreon, as we do with many other things. A lot of things are up there exclusively. And yeah, we're going to be really just doing even more next year with Bread and Butter, which is one of our favorite shows. Just like topic. We pick a nice, juicy topic. We lay that butter on that bread. We have a good time with it. We're doing even more of those in the new year. So stay tuned. But yeah, thank you to all the Patreon producers. If you're not on Patreon, you do have to check out some ads. So yeah, do that. I'm going to have a sip of water, and we'll be right back. All right, we are back. I actually had a sip of tea, which I guess is just water in a cup with a bag of other stuff. So it kind of is just water. Let me know in the comments. Did you agree with that statement? Is tea water, or should I really make a distinction if I'm going to drink water or if I'm going to drink tea? While you think about that, I am going to jump into the next topic, which is Marvel Cosmic Invasion. So again, if you forget what this game is, this was the last game this team made was TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which is the 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up, I guess 2.5E in a way. You can kind of go up and down on the screen. It's a beat-em-up, which, again, just like Marvel Tokon, like not my genre generally, but I loved Shredder's Revenge, and I don't think I would have checked that out just on my own, but at the time, I was a Game Pass subscriber. It was on Game Pass. I loved the art style. I was like, yeah, let me check this out, and I played through the whole game. Freaking loved it. Played some single player, played some multiplayer, and it was like, oh my god, I think I have potential. I have room in my heart to love a beat 'em up game. Like, this has not ever been my genre. I've played a ton of them in my life, of course, especially in like arcades and stuff. But yeah, it's just not usually my bag, baby. And I've came to found with Shredder's Revenge that I think there is a way to make it happen. Part of it is some of the most gorgeous pixel art I've ever seen in my life. But also I think just more fun character movesets, good, interesting mechanics, good level design, good boss design, and I think just like little rewards along the way to keep things interesting and fresh. I think the right difficulty level as well, also the right amount of like things to collect and do, like little bonus objectives, just like the right amount of all that kind of stuff that doesn't make it feel overwhelming. And again, they have totally nailed it here because I picked up Cosmic Invasion and have now beat the game. I played through the whole campaign of it, which I think is like around 15 missions, and I love this game. I had a super great time with this one again. I just love that this team is able to create beat 'em ups that I can enjoy, because this is like a whole new genre for me in a way. And I think there's probably some other good ones out there that I should check out. But yeah, I think this one for me, the big selling point on it again was just the developer's last work, but also the Marvel side of it. I'm a big Marvel fan, and I love the roster they have for this one, right? Because they have the usual suspects. They have your Captain Americas, your Wolverines, your Spider-Mans, but then they have like all the freak shows in there too. They have Nova, they have Phi Lavelle. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. They have Phoenix, which is not a freak show, but she just doesn't often make it into these games. Rocket without Groot, which I think is always fun to see. And Venom's in there as like another one. You get Silver Surfer, who's kind of a rare character to see playable in games like this. And so far, like every character is fun. Of course, I do have my favorites. I don't think there's really been a character that I dislike at this point. Maybe because I was about to say even Beta Ray Bill, who's another weird pick. They don't have Thor in here. They have Beta Ray Bill. He's kind of slower, a bit clunkier, but I really like his he throws his Mjolnir equivalent, his axe out, and then rather than just immediately zipping back to you, it just like floats in midair and like spins around, so you can almost like put it out there as like a little trap for enemies to walk into, and then you just like fist fight until you call it back to you. So he has a fun moveset as well. Again, this game is gorgeous, looks amazing. I think it for me has a good amount of difficulty, where there was probably in the like 15 mission campaign, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 of the missions, so like almost a third of the game. It required me to like try the levels multiple times. Some of them, I think the most one took me was like 4 attempts. I think the last level I beat on my first try, which is funny. You'd think that's usually like the hardest thing, but maybe they wanted that to be a bit more of a layup, close the game out strong. But there's a couple missions that were really tricky, and this game compared to, because I don't remember this in Shredder's Revenge, but you do level up your characters. They each have 10 levels possible, and there isn't like some big skill tree or anything like that. More so it's just you get like HP upgrades, you get like passive upgrades, you get like a costume at their maximum level, so just little boosts to their characters. I don't know how much the HP upgrades are, like if it's 5%, 10%, 25%, like if it's some big amount or small amount. But it definitely felt like, okay, even if I failed a mission, because I was leveling up, I wasn't really that pissed, because I got like 2 level ups. So even if I redo the mission with the same characters, okay, well now I have more HP, I have better stats, so it'll probably be easier next time around. I don't feel like I wasted my time. And also the missions, like at worst, or not at worst, the longest is like 10 minutes long, something like that. 10, 15 maybe if you're going super slow through it. And so, yeah, even if you lose at minute 7, it's not like losing a Fire Emblem mission after hour 2.5, like it's not too bad at all. And then, yeah, you're getting those upgrades. And then also each mission has bonus objectives. So there's like a collectible to find, sometimes multiple, and then 3 bonus objectives. Usually it's like with Captain America, get 5 kills with your shield, or with Black Panther, hit 10 people with your ultimate ability, whatever it is. And then usually there's one tied to the level specifically, like don't get hit by the Galactus's beams in this one level at all. And so even if you get one of those objectives and then fail the mission, you'll still get that objective. So someone's like, okay, I got my Black Panther objective, so now I'm going to back out. I'm going to switch to a character that's higher level to help me beat this level. I'll keep Captain America in because I haven't got his mission yet. And so you can kind of switch things around in that way too. You're not locked into which characters to play each level, although each mission has like a little cutscene that leads into it, and it does have like Silver Surfer and Rocket Raccoon are like narrating what they're about to go do. So it just like breaks it a little bit narratively if you switch to other characters. But every level does recommend, here's the 2 characters you should play for this, but there's absolutely no downside if you don't. And then I like that the final mission doesn't have that. It just says, hey, whoever your favorites are at this point, to go take down Annihilus, like go for it. Like that's kind of what you're supposed to do at this point. So really like that. And yeah, because it's only 15, as I mentioned, like 15-ish missions, and 10-ish minutes long missions. Like that's not a super long game, but for me it is pretty replayable. Even after beating it, I immediately went back, redid the first few levels to get the bonus objectives I didn't the first time. I want to at least get all the characters to level 10. I want to get all their costumes. Their costumes aren't actually, they're all palette swaps, but even with that, they actually are able to pull off a lot. Like here's one example I can think of off the top of my head. Maybe you don't love this example, but like Storm, she'll be in like her full white suit or something like that. And then one of the palette swaps is like, it's like her legs are now there. So it's, even though it's a palette swap, it's like, oh, she was wearing pants and now she's not. So maybe that's like classic Marvel of just scantily clad women or whatever is going on there. But I feel like the costumes do change a lot of the vibe of these characters. You get some kind of fun different variants, and even if they aren't changing, like, I don't know, the different outfits they're wearing, just the colors, they are able to capture a lot, and each one of them has like a good amount of different colors. So always having fun unlocking those and seeing some of the freaky or non-freaky colors they get. Like for Black Panther, you get a couple that just add this really nice like red or like green shading to his armor that looks super cool. So having a good time unlocking all that stuff. So yeah, even though I've beat it already, like I'm definitely going to go through it again. There is an arcade mode, which is like you have to beat the whole game in one sitting. And even that would not take that long once you've played through the game a bunch. So I might try that at some point. We'll see, maybe when I unlock my characters. But more, or when I max out the level of all the characters is what I meant to say. But yeah, I think also this is one that I'm like really excited to whip this out on the 24-hour stream next year, or maybe the summer stream or something like that, GV day stream. I don't know when, but definitely play this with the boys at some point. You can do 4-player co-op, and the way it works is you always pick 2 characters. So I would, pick in this mission on the YouTube video I have playing, like you'd pick Black Panther and Ghost Rider as one character. So you're playing as one of them. At any moment, you can hit the left trigger to switch to that other character, but then often you can also do like big combo attack with Black Panther, but then call in your buddy character to do like a combo attack. And there's like 4 or 5 variations of the ways they can combo. Sometimes the combos combo them into being the playable character, and then sometimes they're just coming in for an attack. But they do like huge damage. There's kind of like almost like a mana bar you have to keep track of. There's like ammo and stuff for characters who have shots and whatnot. So there's like cooldowns and things like that. But I really like that. It keeps the levels fresh, because even if I'm playing on my own, which I did for the first playthrough, I did the whole thing single player. At least every mission I still get to pick 2 characters and switch between them on the fly. So it keeps things fresh. But then, yeah, if you played with 4 players, you would each get 2 characters. Now you'd have 8 characters in total, potentially flying around them. Well, I guess 4 at a time, but even with combo attacks, you could have something like 8 and stuff. So it gets pretty crazy. It gets pretty overwhelming. I think if you have like all these players in there, but pretty fun, pretty cool stuff. I really like that. Yeah, character swapping mechanic is fun. It's quick. It's fresh. And yeah, this game to me feels like Ultimate Alliance light in a way. It's not quite as in depth as that game, but it's also maybe a little bit simpler, a little bit shorter, really more I guess more focused. Has a smaller roster, of course, but the roster is really good. And yeah, so it's just a super, super good time. I think my favorite characters, Silver Surfer, just really fun, has a kind of weird movement to him because he's on the board, of course, all the time. I really like Nova, which is a character that I feel like has never been in Ultimate Alliance. It's got to be playable in like a Lego game, but that's kind of different. But yeah, I can't really think of a time where I've played as Nova, and Nova's kind of just like a Captain Marvel type, kind of Iron Man-y. But I love Nova. I think he's really fun. He's also like the tutorial level character, so I like that he's kind of the first one they introduce you to in this game. Phoenix, super fun. Any of the characters, there's 4 of them in here that you don't unlock from the beginning. You have to unlock them throughout the game, and they all start as a boss fight that you have to do. And then you get them, and then obviously like a lot of their boss moves, which are big, huge boss moves, end up being like part of their moveset, which is always feels great. So like Venom and Phoenix, those characters are awesome. Rocket, I really, really like Rocket. He feels a lot like Snake in like Smash Bros. To me in terms of his moveset, but he has like this fun like combo attack where he can just like keep jumping on people's heads like Mario style, which is really great. Captain America, always fun. Phyla-Vell, one I'm really big fan of. Just big, cool sword, and can like throw sword knife attacks, whatever, like at a range. Really fun character. Really like that one as well. But yeah, like I said, like there isn't a dull character in the mix for me. Like I literally like all of them. So I think Shredder's Revenge had DLC, and I don't know if I played the DLC, so I don't know if that included I think it had new characters, and I imagine new missions. I would love if this game got that. I think whatever it adds to it, I would buy like for years to come if they just kept adding characters and missions and things like this. I don't know what else they would really like. I guess there could be like other modes. Like I could see like a roguelike mode or something working for this. But even if they never add that kind of stuff, I'm still very happy with my purchase here. This game is on Game Pass as well, but I'm not on Game Pass right now, so I just picked it up on the Switch. It's a good one to play on the go. Plays well on the Switch 2 specifically. I imagine it plays well on the Switch 1, but I don't know. Maybe when you get 4 people in there, two characters each spamming abilities, I could see the Switch slowing down, getting a little choppy. But so far, the Switch 2 is running pretty well for me. And then yeah, I think the only other thing is like you're unlocking collectibles, and also I think you just get like a little gem every time you like beat a level. And then there's like this big grid, which isn't really a skill tree, but you can go in there and that's where you can unlock more colors. You can unlock music tracks and just like lore, like a monster manual, like compendium thingy, whatever those are called. So those just give you information on characters, fun little backstory things. For me, I'm mostly hunting down the costumes, even though it's like completely random. But that's fun to fill out. I'm liking doing that. So yeah, I really recommend this game. And you know, it's tricky because I don't know. It's again like Marvel Tokon. I don't know if I can recommend it to big fans of the genre because I'm not one of those people. Like I feel like for me, this is if you're not into the genre necessarily, maybe give it a shot. If you are an Ultimate Alliance fan, I think this will scratch that itch. It won't be the same, but it's less expensive. It's pretty chill comparatively, but it still has a lot of that same fun. The character movesets are super well done. Good character roster again. So I think I'd recommend it to the Ultimate Alliance fans. Maybe that's the best way to put it, which, you know, we've done a ton of Ultimate Alliance content on this channel, so I'm sure a lot of you listening are Ultimate Alliance fans and have been waiting for that next game. And yeah, I think this is a good way to like fill that niche in the meantime. It feels like it fills that void, even if the gameplay perspective is a bit different. I mean, I guess technically like the handheld Ultimate Alliance games, like the GBA versions, were kind of like this. I think they're more 2D, whereas this is kind of 2.5. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to be said about this game. I'm loving it. Really having a good time with it. I'm going to keep playing it, even though I've already beat it. So I will close that part out of the episode. And that's going to take us into the final part, which is just me doing my Game Awards votes. So let me bring this up on screen again. And yeah, so Game Awards. We've already talked about it twice when these categories first came out. Me and Travis did like a first impressions. But then, of course, last week we did actual predictions with me, Travis, and Taylor, who we think is going to win each category. We also did predictions for announcements and things like that. And now we're just like a few short days away. I don't know when they cut off like the fan vote. Like how hot into the show do they cut this off if it was going to make a difference at that point, like the fan vote, the 10%, to like actually like write the things on the cards and print those out and give those to the presenters? Because I don't know, because I'm coming in here on the 7th when the show's on the 11th, and I'm putting my votes in, and I hope they still count. Maybe it's just for fun at this point. I don't know. I'm going to start from the bottom up here because we've done it the other way the other times, and so hopefully this will work without the website being weird. Best esports team. I have no skin in the game here. I'm going to go with Team Vitality. I did not really watch much Counter-Strike this year, even though I am a big fan. But I'm just going to go with this just to vote for my boy, Counter-Strike. So let's go with Vitality. And then I will go over to Esports Athlete. I'm going to follow the same thing here, and I'm going to go with the Counter-Strike boy in Zywoo, who I've seen some clips from, and this guy is crazy. So, shout-outs to him. And then this one, I think I mentioned this on the predictions, this is Esports game first, sorry. Esports game, again, same mentality. I'm going to go for Counter-Strike here. Shouts to Valve. Maybe we'll see them with Half-Life 3 at the Game Awards. All right, Content Creator of the Year. So I wanted to shout this out because typically when these are announced, I don't know who most of the people are usually. Like a couple of them I've usually heard of. In this case, there's only one that I've heard of. It is Moist Critical, also known as Charlie is his name. And I'm a big fan of this guy. And I got to say, I don't watch his content these days, and I haven't watched his videos in a long time. But I used to watch his videos probably 10 years ago or something. I feel like it was in high school, and I've long passed high school at this point. So long before he ever revealed his face and is doing whatever kind of content he's doing now. But he seems like a cool guy. He's funny. He is very funny from the old videos I used to watch of him. So I like to see this. This happened with Valkyrie as well, where I remember stumbling upon her stream when she was like a tiny little baby streamer. And then, years later for her to be like one of the biggest content creators in the world. It's just cool to see that, it's cool to see people who seem genuine and actually nice and people who I've like interacted with in chats and stuff to like get to this huge monolithic level. So hopefully Moist Critical gets it. I feel like he kind of peaked like a year or two ago. I'm kind of surprised it took till 2025 for him to pop up here in the Game Award stuff. There must have been some big stream or something he did this year, because I feel like that's usually the kind of thing that piques the jury's curiosity. Shouts to Moist Critical. Interesting picture they got for him. Like, you don't need a smile, but he just looks like he's almost surprised or something in this picture. So, but I guess they're all like Kai. I don't know what face that is. That's like bemusement, and then one of these guys is a peanut. So we don't need to worry too much about that. Most anticipated game. Now here's the thing: when it comes to my vote, I'm not necessarily picking the thing that if it's game of the year, I'm not necessarily picking what is my game of the year. Really, I have such a small margin of vote here, right? Because I'm like in this 10%, which is 10% of like millions of people or however many people vote on this. And so I'm just trying to turn the wind, sway the wind a little bit. When you're playing like Wii Sports and you can see the little wind icon up there when you're doing golf. I'm trying to like change like 1 or 2 degrees on there. That's all I have the power to do. Most anticipated, I think. Okay, so obviously I am very excited for all these games, even Witcher 4, which I have not really played a lot of the Witcher games, but I have read a ton of the books recently, so who knows, maybe by the time Witcher 4 comes out, I'll jump into that game. I'm excited for all these games. The one I probably am most excited for is like GTA 6, which is kind of like boring to answer that way, because like, of course, it's like everyone's most anticipated game. I think that is just going to win no matter what. But you know what? I think I'm going to be boring and vote for it. I was thinking, like, am I more anticipating Wolverine? I think I need to see more about that game. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give it to IO. I'm going to give it to IO Interactive. I talked about Eminem in this episode. This is not going to win this vote by any means, but I'm going to give them my vote just to show that I care. I feel like they probably have something where if you vote for them at the Game Awards, they'll give you like a limited edition duck in Hitman. So give me that limited edition duck. IO, give it to me. Adaptation. So I've only seen Last of Us and Minecraft movie here, both of which covered on the podcast extensively. Both things I'm not a huge fan of necessarily. Oh boy. Devil May Cry, Until Dawn, Splinter Cell. This is tricky, right? I forget what I predicted for this. Did I pick Last of Us or Minecraft? I can't even remember what I picked just merely 1 week ago. I don't know. What's like... I want to vote for the little guy here, but I don't know who the little guy is in this situation. These are all huge companies. I'm just going to go with Jack Black. Maybe I'll vote for Minecraft movie. You can get mad at me if you want, but this is a pretty weak crop of votes, things to vote for. So I'm going to go with that one. I feel already weird about that. I can change it, but I'm going to leave it. Best multiplayer. What have I played here? Not much. Only Split Fiction, which is a good multiplayer game. It is a good multiplayer. I've not played Peak. I kind of want to vote for Peak because it's like the fun, underrated indie game. And while I have not played Peak, I've been playing a lot of those kinds of games recently. With RV There Yet, which I talked about on the podcast with Jessica. We also played one this weekend called Co-op Kaiju Horror Cooking, which was an awesome game. And I feel like it's in the same genre here as Peak. And I kind of want to go for the little guy here. And, Elden Ring, you've won enough awards. So I'm going to go with Peak. This one could win. I feel like there's a chance it gets the I feel like it could get the 10% or like a good chunk of that 10% fan vote. Shoutouts to Peak. This was Best Sports and Racing, so I've only played Mario Kart. Actually, I played Rematch as well. I didn't really like Rematch a whole lot, but to be fair, I'm just so Rocket League pilled. It's hard for me to convert to a game that's so similar. Mario Kart probably is going to win this. And I don't know if there is a little guy. I feel like the little guy here would be Sonic Racing, which I've heard really good things about, and a lot of people want to say it's better than Mario Kart. I don't know if they're just saying that to like sound cool and hipstery, but I'm going to pick Mario Kart because I genuinely really enjoy that game. even if it's not as good as 8, and everyone can accept that and still be happy in life. Best sim strategy. Okay, so there's options here, right? Civ 7 I've played a lot of. I like. I actually don't want to reward it here because as I talked about in the review that I did this year with Kirkland, this game kind of like falsely released in early access, and there's so much shitty monetization. I don't want to reward them with my vote here, even though it is a game, the only game I played on this list, and is the one I like the most. 2 Point Museum. I should check out the soundtrack for that game, by the way, because 2 Point Campus had a banging soundtrack, surprisingly. So I'm considering 2 Point Museum. The alters had like some weird AI art controversy, so I don't want to vote for AI art. Final Fantasy Tactics. I would vote for that just because I want to see weird little tactics games like that. But since that's like a remaster, I'm less inclined because I just want to see fresh things in here. So I think I'm going to go with 2 Point Museum. Shoutouts to that team. They deserve it. And I haven't played that yet, but I should. How much is that game? I feel like I might want to pick that up. I've never played a museum sim game, but I've seen a few of them and they look cool. Best family game. Okay, so I have Rock Split Fiction in here, which to me is not really fitting the family game description. Neither does Donkey Kong Bonanza, which I enjoyed. Mario Kart does. Two Lego games, which I have not played, which I do. I want to play both of them. I think I'm going to go with Mario Kart here, because to me it is the best family game of the mix. And really, I just feel like a lot of these games don't really... Like, I think Lego Party and Mario Kart World and Sonic Racing are the only ones that truly feel like family games to me, in whatever nebulous description I think family game means. Moving along to best fighting game. So I have not played any of these. I have been loving my Mortal Kombat recently. Capcom Fighting Collection 2. That's not the one we played on the stream, right? No, because that was the Marvel. I don't even know. Those collections are so hard to keep track of. I think 2XKO looks pretty cool. Fatal Fury, la 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 la. I'm going to go with 2XKO. I'm going to go with the new guy on the block. That's for Kirkland. I'm voting for Kirkland because that's a League of Legends game. Best RPG. This is where things get interesting. So we have 2 Obsidian games here. Avowed I have played a lot of and enjoyed a lot of, but also kind of soured on it by the end. Outer Worlds 2 I have not played yet. Monster Hunter, I actually did play some of that with a demo situation. Played a couple hours of that. It was not my cup of tea, which I'm going to take a sip of right now. I don't even know why I stopped here. It's obviously going to be Clair Obscur. I got to vote for that. It's funny, like Clair Obscur is like so big now, and it's like in so many categories that it almost feels like not the underdog, even though like it kind of is still, because it's like a newish studio with like a totally new concept. But for me, it has way better RPG mechanics than Avowed. Maybe not better RPG mechanics than Kingdom Come, just from what I've heard about that game. But since I have not played it, I'm going to go with Clair Obscur. But a good crop of games. I like the RPGs to pick from this year. Best action adventure. So again, I have to remind myself. Combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. So in my opinion, Death Stranding, I actually do like the combat in there, kind of. But in the traversal, it's funny. That the game should all be about a traversal, and it kind of is, but to me it's less interesting traversally speaking than Death Stranding 1. I just made up a word there, and it definitely does not have like, I guess it has like problem solving, but not necessarily puzzle solving. Haven't played Yotai yet. Hollow Knight Silksong, I think for me, really good traversal, really good puzzle solving, and really good combat. So it's really crushing it in like the 3 words that action adventure means. Split Fiction, I enjoy the game. It's fun because like playing any game with a friend is fun, and I like the co-op nature of it. I actually don't think it's the best game. Maybe that's a hot take. I do need to finish it still, but I just don't think it's like that good in my opinion. It's fun because you play it with friends, but I don't think it's that good of a game. That might be crazy talk. And then Indiana Jones. I mean, this game, traversal. Does it have good traversal? I guess it kind of does. You're climbing up buildings. You have your boat section. I didn't really like the boat section. You don't really drive in that game, right? You got your whip, which is a little bit clunky. Really good puzzles in Indiana Jones, fun puzzles, and the combat is fun as well. So honestly, for me, it's really between Hollow Knight and Jones. I also feel like Yotai to me, I don't know if it really has I haven't played the new one, of course, but I don't know if it really has the puzzle. I think it's got combat on like lock, but I feel like that's okay. Action category for that. So for me, it's between Hollow Knight and Jones. And I don't think it is recency, but I think for me, Silksong. Okay, here's an interesting argument, and I don't have anyone to bounce this off, and I'm going to vote now, so I'm not going to have time to think about this. Silksong has like a whole nother act area section la-di-da that I didn't even bother going for because I got credits and I was out of there. Jones I played till the bitter end, but if I had stopped playing earlier in the game, I think I might have been as hot on it in the action adventure category as I was Silksong. So that's like a weird dynamic to deal with. I did not play the Jones DLC, which I actually think is like a nice little addition because obviously that game came out last year, but like the DLC coming out this year is maybe a good way to keep it fresh, even though I don't think people really played that DLC. Ultimately, I am going to go with Silksong here because I think it is that triple threat, and it might be recency, but I think overall it just has the quality more. There were a couple of areas. There was one area in Silksong that I hated, but I think in Jones, percentage-wise, a bigger chunk of that game I disliked and thought was uninteresting in the ways that action adventure is asking me to vote on it for. So I'm going with Silksong. Now we're back over to just action game, which Ghost of Yotai is not here. I kind of forgot about that. What have I played here? I played some Ninja Gaiden 4. Again, not my genre. Now, if the team that makes Cosmic Invasion made a character action like this, I'm sure I'd love it. But I did not like it, but it's not my cup of tea. Hades 2, I didn't like Hades 1, so I didn't play that. And Dark Ages, I actively did not enjoy the combat or the game really at all. So this is tricky. Do I just go for I feel like Hades 2 might get a wee bit snubbed. And it is more indie than some of these other ones, so I don't know if I just vote for the little guy here. Shinobi, that feels like maybe the little guy. You know what? Shinobi? I like this little thumbnail thing. You're getting my vote. You're getting my vote. Okay, so next up is... And you can get mad at me for that if you want, for voting for a game I didn't play over games I did play, but it's my vote. It's my vote. VR Air, I did not play these. I'm going to go with Ghost Town. Yep, going with Ghost Town. Best mobile game. Not my bag, baby. Jeez Louise. What's the little guy here, you know? Oh, fudge. I don't want to vote for Sonic Rumble. Wuthering Waves, no. I don't want to vote on any of these. I'm not voting on this one. That's the first category I'm not even going to vote in. Best debut indie game. Okay. I've played Blueprints and Clair Obscur. Tricky. Okay, I'm gonna come back to this one, but I just want to remind myself what's in indie. Because indie, for me, Clair Obscur and indie feels weird. So I actually don't think I'm going to vote for it here, because I just, in my opinion, in my description of what an indie game is, I don't know if that really fits. So I think I'm going to go with Silksong here, because Ball Pit as well, like, if you're published by Devolver, are you even an indie anymore? Blueprints, if you're published by Raw Fury, are you an indie anymore? You know what I mean? I think these games are both made by, like, mostly a handful of people, so they're small in that way. Like, I mean, Ball, X Pit, and Blueprints. This is a good crop. Like, I really enjoy Ball Pit, Blueprints, Clair Obscur, and Silksong. But I'm actually going to go with Silksong here because that game's cool and it feels the most indie to me. And do I have another reason? No. That's enough reasons. What more could you ask for? So let's go back to debut now. And I think I might throw... I mean, Clair Obscur is obviously going to win it. And in terms of my Wii Sports wind analogy, I have no impact on the wind on this one. I'm gonna throw my bag behind Blueprints. Shouts to Blueprints, a cool game. Again, like Silksong, I rolled credits and dipped happily, even though there was a lot of other stuff that could be done in that game. Best community support. So this one's interesting because Helldivers 2 is a game I picked up this year because it released on a new platform and it had some new updates and Halo stuff. So that's supporting a community. I don't know what Baldur's Gate did this year, as I talked about on our predictions. I don't remember there being any support, but there must have been. It's like some patches or something. I guess that game came out on Xbox like the end of last year. It came out in December. Yeah, I played it in December last year. So there's probably a lot of updates. No Man's Sky, I'm just sick of seeing it here. Fortnite, move along, sir. Leave some room for someone else. Oh. Baldur's Gate 3. I'm kind of surprised that's in the top 5. But you know what? I'm going to go with Helldivers 2 because I feel the most supported as a community member by that game this year. Oh, this is fun. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? Best ongoing game. Okay, Helldivers 2. That went into my Xbox account. Marvel Rivals I've played. I played it it came out last year, I think, right? I played it last year and this year. Did it come out this year or last? Oh my god, I don't even know anymore. I'm losing it, y'all. I'm going to go with Helldivers here for best ongoing game because I played it this year. Games for Impact. Consumi, Despelote, Bloom. Oh my god. Bloom Records, Lost in Rage. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. Wanderstop and South of Midnight. So I played South of Midnight, but it did not... This is Games for Impact, but I'll tell you, it did not impact me that much. Now, I didn't see it through to the end, so I'm sure the story goes places later on. I've heard great things about Consumi and Despelote, so I'm inclined to want to vote for one of those two. Of the two, Despelote is the one that screams to me more, and I think would be... I think it's a game I will enjoy on the day that I play it, which is not today, but it is a day in the future. I'm going to vote for Despelote. All right, where am I at right now? I'm at 20 out of... Wait, have I only voted for that many? I don't know how many I've voted for. Jeez Louise. Innovation in accessibility. I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to go with Atomfall because I really like that game and I don't see it in other categories. That'd be cool for Rebellion to win that. I like Rebellion. Best performance. This is really tricky for me. Who do I want to win? On my predictions, I went for the Bake Boy, the Baker. Charlie Cox, how do you not vote for your boy? But Jennifer English, so good as Mael. I think everyone is so good in that game, in Claire Obscure. By the way, sorry if you didn't listen to our predictions and stuff. I'm not reading out all the things like I have been on these previous episodes, but I think, we've talked about it a lot. It's on the YouTube version if you're on there, but really, I'm just trying to narrow this down. You know what I mean? So yeah, forgive me if I'm not explaining all the categories in detail because I've already done that twice and I don't want to do it a third time. I think I'm going to go with Jennifer English here. I don't think she's won a Game Award. I think she deserves it. 2 years in a row, Shadowheart into into Claire Obscure. She's great. I'd like to see her on stage. She's so good in this game. She's so freaking good. I think she does more for me than the other ones. I'm going to go with English. Oh, no, I'm actually already almost through this. My vote count cast thing is weirdly laid out. Best audio design. My prediction was Death Stranding 2. And you'll notice, by the way, that I am not voting just for the things that I predicted. I'm not putting my Wii Sports win to push the things I want to win because, once again, my win ratio is so low that I'm not going to meaningfully change anything. This is just for fun. I think I'm going to go with Death Stranding 2 here because, honestly, if there's any category where my win could sway, maybe it's audio design, and I am in hindsight wondering if I should have picked this one. But I feel like otherwise I might pick Silent Hill F, which is weird because I haven't played it, but I just feel like horror games probably have good audio design. So I'm going to go with Death Stranding 2 because that game has good sounds. Fun beats and bleeps and bloops. Score and music. Super great music here. Silk Song, Clair Obscur, Death Stranding. Really, really good. And those three have super different vibes to them as well. I do think at the end of the day, well, Death Stranding probably has the most like memorable music just because it's like a lot of the music in there is just straight up like radio songs, like raindrops keep falling on my head, you know? Whereas Clair Obscur, it has extremely memorable music for a game that doesn't have just like quote unquote radio tracks. And I feel like Silk Song, I do love that soundtrack, but I couldn't hum a couple bars for you right now like I could some of these other ones. So I think it's between Clair Obscur and Death Stranding. And I think ultimately my pick is for Clair Obscur here. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous soundtrack. Heartfelt, powerful, different vibes, all that. But if you look at my Spotify playlists, I have more Death Stranding music on my playlists than I do Clair Obscur. But I don't think I've listened. I don't think I considered that I was already on Spotify. So I should listen to that. I should also re-listen to Silk Song and probably listen to Ghost and Hades 2 as well, just to, if they're up here, they're worthy of love. Art direction. Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Yotai, Hades 2, Silk Song. So, I mean, Silk Song, gorgeous game for sure. I think this is, and I maybe made this argument in our predictions, but for me, with all these being sequels and none of them drastically changing their art style from their first game, just being like more refined, better looking, more depth, more detail, more polygons. To me, like art direction, part of that is like being fresh and new, and Clair Obscur artistically, visually, is extremely fresh and new and innovative in so many ways. The look of the characters, their tattoos, their costumes, the look of the monolith and the enemies and the NPCs and the world, and even just the weird like Unreal Engine-ness to it, which looks sometimes not great, honestly, but it does look weird and different and fresh. And I don't want to spoil anything, but it just thematically like slaps. Thematic slaps. So I'm going to go with Clair Obscur here, whether you like it or not. And then for narrative, so Death Stranding 2, weak narrative in my opinion. Has some good moments for sure, but there's a lot about that game that let me down, even though I love it still. I feel very conflicted about that game. Haven't played Yotai Kingdom or Silent Hill F, and Clair Obscur has maybe my favorite video game story ever. I don't even feel weird about saying that. That's how good the story is. It might just straight up be my favorite video game story ever. So, hell yeah, it gets best narrative. Best game direction. Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, Yotai, Hades 2, and Split Fiction. So I think for me, Death Stranding 2, okay, again, awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. It's like, what does any of that mean? You know what I mean? That means like nothing and everything. I'm not going to give it to Ghost or Hades 2 because I feel like they're the most iterative sequels. Two games I haven't played, so, you know, shoot me if you want. Don't do that, actually. Split Fiction, obviously very different look and story setup, but very similar to what the studio's been doing before, so it doesn't feel like totally new and innovative in that sort of way. Death Stranding 2, more of the same, but it is so weird. It definitely extremely creative vision. It just doesn't really deliver on some of that stuff. And so I think, again, I'm going to go with Clair Obscur because, I mean, I love the way this game puts an importance on its story and delivers on it. I think mechanically, gameplay-wise, it takes what can be sometimes a boring or slow-paced combat system and makes it like super snappy and quick and fresh and fun, and one I was having a good time with all the way to the bitter end. It's just fucking great. I think it also, like the RPG mechanics and leveling up, I think it needs some work on the UI to make things a bit cleaner and snappier, but like it's just crushing it, you know what I mean? And so I'm going to go with Clair Obscur for game direction, and this is our last one. Oh yeah, votes cast, because I skipped mobile game, right? I just didn't even bother. Okay, game of the year, GOTY. Clair Obscur, Death Stranding 2, DKB, Hades 2. I like DKB. I don't think I've heard anyone say that. DKB. I like that. Hades 2, Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance. So I haven't played Hades 2, of course, but like I said, didn't really like the first one. So just not really worth spending the money on a game that I probably won't enjoy. Kingdom Come, I do want to play at some point in my life. And I did have it downloaded when I had PS Plus. It's like a demo of it. I haven't played that yet. But I do want to try that game at some point in my life. And honestly, the other four here, Clair Obscur, DKB, Death Stranding, Silk Song, at this point in time, these games are all in like my top 6 or 7 of the year, game of the year stuff. So it's like, hey, jury, you picked well this year. Like, you're representing me in a big way. So it's tricky. DKB for me is a little bit a step below the other ones. Really fun game. I enjoy it a lot. But it's not going to be my vote here. I'm between, I think for Death Stranding 2, as much as I got the platinum. I played so much of that game. At some point I wasn't even enjoying it anymore, and I was just, I don't even know. I think I was in a rut, and I was like, I can just be Sam Porter Bridges. I'll just go to Australia, and I'll just vibe out, and no one can bother me, and I'll spend 100 hours delivering packages. And when I got the platinum, I was like, I don't even feel much from getting the platinum. I don't know why I did this. Something about it drew me in to do that, but I think that was more a me thing than a game thing. So I think I'm going to disqualify that one. Silk Song really turned me around because I played a bit of first Hollow Knight and it just didn't stick with me. But I really enjoyed Silk Song. It did have a couple points in it that were like the Poison Swamp. No, stop. Just enough of that. Enough of that. Some of the boss fights were annoying. A couple janky things. I don't really have issues with Clair Obscur, and it's just, as I've already kind of mentioned, in every caliber, combat, story, acting, art style, music, vibes, smell, sound, feel. It's firing on every cylinder. It's even like inventing new cylinders to fire on, I feel like. So I think the GOTY pick for me, for my vote for the Game Awards, I think it is going to be Mr. Clair Obscur. And you know what? I expect that one to win as well. And I have to go back. How often does the winner of Game of the Year line up with my personal pick? And I haven't decided if Clair Obscur is my personal pick yet, but it's certainly circling that top 3 spot. Last year, definitely not the case because UFO 50. The year before was Sea of Stars, my Game of the Year, I think, so that didn't line up. Year before that was 2022. What the hell came out in that year? Was that the year of Grounded and Triangle Strategy, or was that 2021? I can't remember. 2020 was Spelunky 2 for me, which did not win. So usually it doesn't line up for me. Usually the Game of the Year winner is not line up with my number one. So we'll see if that happens this year. If Clair Obscur wins this, and if I pick it for my Game of the Year, which I don't know when that's going to happen yet. I have it roughly on the calendar, but stay tuned. Our Game of the Year will probably be a week or two after the Game Awards. I don't know what we'll do for that, because I don't think the rest of the boys have played a lot of games this year, new games that is, so I might just do me and Kirkland again, but I don't think he's played a ton. I'll have to go look at the calendar and remind myself what he played, but, I always have played a bunch of games, so I will be doing that. Thank you for listening to this. This was a fun, very rambly episode, fun 4-quadrant episode. Well, I guess 3-quadrant, because we had 2 Marvel topics. But hopefully you enjoyed. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me here. Thank you for listening. And we'll see you in just a few short days for the Game Awards. Again, tune in. Maybe we'll do a watch along for the live stream. At the very worst, we will cover the results, the announcements, all that stuff afterwards. Probably put that episode up right away. So late Thursday night or Friday morning, depending on your time zone and all that good stuff. So thank you again for listening. And I will see you all again just a few short days. Bye-bye.